Hello and welcome to The Spirit Safe. My name's Rob. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. We have a very special presentation this time. So 2 years ago I reviewed the Abelard BUNADH, which is one of the better no age statement whiskies. This was batch 54, bottled at 60.7%. And 2 years ago, when the channel was really in its infancy, I reviewed this whiskey. They do batches every so often, big batches. It's not exactly a single cask. I did keep the empty bottle, but this is considered one of the better no age statement whiskies, particularly in the heavily sherried category. But Abelard have been producing this for a very long time, and I decided I would try to get hold of one of the older batches. So from a whiskey site in the UK, an auction site, I bought one of the first batches of Abelard BUNADH. It's actually unnumbered, so the first 5 batches of Abelard BUNADH were unnumbered, and then they moved to numbered batches. So this is probably from, they started bottling this about 1997. My guess is it's from between 1997 to about 2000. So, give or take, it's about 20 years old in terms of the bottling. And the view is generally that Abelard, there's general pressure on stocks in the industry, so the older stuff is thought of to be better. But I thought I would do a comparison. And it's a bit of a treat, actually, to thank all of the subscribers for all of the comments and being part of the experience. So I opened this actually last Christmas, and I've had it open for a long time because it was expensive. I paid about £220 GBP plus all of the additional, the shipping and everything. So it's more than I usually spend on whiskey. It's a special bottle for me. So, I've had to make it last for the year or so. Now, it's the bottle is around the same. You see they moved from this British Racing Green cardboard carton to the tube that you see nowadays. I don't know what batch of BUNADH they're on now. They're probably well into the 60s. I think 62, 65. This is 54, but I think it's probably a good description between the good representation of the modern BUNADH compared to the older stuff. So this is probably, it could be from batch 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. This one, does it have the bottling strength? Yes, it has to. 59.6%. So slightly lower than the modern stuff, which is 60.7. Full, rich, sherried nose. And you could nose this for ages. I mean, it's funky, fusty, attic smells going on there. Old books in the attic, damp oak rafters. Picking up some classic Dunwich warehouse, older whiskey notes. It's fruity maraschino cherry. Big dry oak and sherry. Definitely some old whiskey in here. Oak spice, red apple, a herbal note to it, which is just wonderful how it works with the oak. And with the sweetness, there are herbal eucalyptus notes in there, autumn leaves, tree bark, woody vegetal notes, tobacco, old furniture, oddly medicinal notes, kind of cough syrup. Golden syrup, papaya, candied papaya, cocoa powder, almonds, honey, dried fruit, malt, apple cider. You just want to dive straight into it. But you also want to nose on it for longer. Lots and lots of Oloroso sherry. Sweet, sour, tangy in the arrival with a syrupy note. Definitely an oaky astringency. Apple cider vinegar, lots of spice. Not as much as on the modern version. Red chili, just a little. Raspberries, lemongrass, ginger, astringent oak. The mouthfeel is warm, but not angry or hot, because there's some old whiskey in there. There's some young whiskey and there's some old whiskey. And you can see how the young whiskey is contributing a bit of zip, and the older whiskey is contributing these Dunnage warehouse note. So this is one of the better no age statement whiskies. Now, this is palatable at cask strength, far more so than the modern stuff, which is still palatable at cask strength. Right, I will add a little bit of water. Teaspoon and 4 or 5 drops there. What a nice colour that is. It's brought the Oloroso sherry notes absolutely to the fore. Dried cranberries, dates, milk chocolate, walnut, lots of nutty notes going on. Still a big alcohol note, but it's lovely and smooth. Mixed candies. The chocolate mixes in with a really nice astringent oak. Really good example of a sherry cask whiskey with a warehouse funk going on. Roasted chestnut, Christmas cake with a little lemon rind on it, sugared almonds, dry ginger, cinnamon, and all of those fruits, red cherry, black currant. Gingerbread, rich and lovely on the nose. Milky and oaky, chocolatey in the arrival. Mixed candies, watermelon candy, chocolate and cranberry. Still a nice alcohol note, but it's mouthwatering. Really, really good. Sweet and juicy and rich. The finish is of chocolate, cappuccino, a lingering oak, bitter chocolate, apple, cider, and an odd medicinal tang. Excellent. Now, I did keep a sample of the old BUNADH, the batch 54. So I've had this stored for 2 years, securely taped. Took a little sample of it so I could do my comparisons and write a few notes, but I've kept most of it intact. I'm just going to pour a little. So this is also the no age statement stuff. This one is bottled slightly higher at 60.7% ABV. Much more of an alcohol note. Spicy, so much more spicy, much more of the dry spices. Asian spices, Chinese spices. Lemongrass and ginger. This feels a little more restrained than the older stuff. The chocolate that's coming through is very, very bitter, a dusty cocoa. Still very good, very approachable, but not quite as approachable as the older stuff. Spicier, more spirity, definitely. Let's give it a little sip. Neat. Much more spice, much more ginger. Molasses coming through. Syrupy notes, but altogether younger, a little bit more brash, a bit more peppery, a lot more peppery. Just add a little bit of water, and that peppery tang is still going on. Getting a lot more youth on the finish with the newer stuff. A lot more red chili knocking around. Picking up some of the warehouse funk now. I've added a little bit of water and some milky notes. Milk chocolate starts to come through a lot more. Chocolate mint. Rye spice opening up nicely now. Fruit and nut. Molasses. With water, a lot more chocolatey. Brash alcohol notes starting to appear at the back. Very, very good. Let's go back to the older stuff. Much more sherry, much more of those older funky notes. The old books and furniture, which I don't get so much in the newer stuff. Wonderfully sweet and fruity, but this also has a nip of younger alcohol. That's in the nature of a no age statement whiskey. I like them both. I think the newer stuff, the older stuff is probably the better, but actually we can still get a decent no age statement whiskey from BUNADH. So this is the newer stuff. This is the older. I think the older probably wins, but then you've got to take into account the fact it's not nearly so easy to obtain. Much more expensive. So whether you're buying the older stuff at auction or the newer stuff at the liquor store, you're probably assured of a good experience. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the review. This has been an interesting one for me to do. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'd be really interested to know your thoughts. Anyway, cheers. Bye-bye.